Hey FLORA family, welcome to our weekly Q&A. We have some awesome questions submitted by you guys, so I'm excited to dive in. If you're new to me or new to the FLORA app, welcome. This is an incredible community platform to really talk about all things digestive health, acid reflux, IBS, and this weekly Q&A is an opportunity to get some of your questions answered. And if you didn't know you could submit a question, you can underneath the programs tab where it says submit a question, or in any of the what's new on FLORA emails that go out every Monday. There's also a place there where you can submit. Without further ado, let's jump in. We have quite a few questions. The first one is, I watched your video on your history with GERD and it was exactly my experience. Wow, I am so glad that resonated. Dealing with my husband's deployment of 13 months caused me to have horrible GERD. I had it in the past, but never chronic like this. Endoscopy showed minor gastritis and I have been taking Pepcid. Should I continue that through this or should I wean off? Doctor left it up to me. This is such a tricky position when you feel like your care is sort of left in your own hands. And I think it's really a stressful situation. It sounds like you already went through a really stressful time with your husband's deployment. And I'm so sorry that, you went through that. I'm sorry that it really brought up reflux for you and you're not alone. So many of my clients go through trauma or difficult times or stressful times, and then they experience really heightened reflux. And because there's a huge relationship between your nervous system and your motility. So your motility is how things move through your digestive system. And if things are out of whack in your nervous system, this can really disrupt your motility and cause that reflux of stomach contents into the esophagus. So hopefully he's okay. And I thank you for his service. And I hope that my content is helpful for you. What I will say is that if your doctor left it up to you, making sure that you're really preventing reflux is key in order to wean off. So when you wean off of a proton pump inhibitor, you're not on a PPI, you're on Pepcid. So that is it's famotidine, it's an H2 blocker. But whenever you wean off of a acid reducer, there can be a little bit of an adjustment period and you want to go really, really slow. So, really just step by step, using alginates like Reflux Raft is really, really helpful. I'll link that alginate down below. And the way alginates work, by the way, is this is your stomach. And when you take an alginate, this is your esophagus. It settles right at the top of your stomach. This little pocket right here that is right at the junction, kind of like the lower esophageal sphincter area, the part where the esophagus connects to the stomach. The alginate will settle right here. It's like an algae supplement and it physically blocks reflux. It's really, really helpful. The one I've been recommending most frequently is Reflux Raft because it has no sugar and it also has some functional ingredients in it like DGL. It does have ginger in it. So if you're very sensitive to ginger, that may not be something that you want to do, but ginger can actually be helpful for reflux if you can tolerate it. So I will link that down below, but you definitely want to make sure if you're weaning off, you're doing all of the things in the HEAL Acid Reflux playlist and going slow. Next question, does Gaviscon aid digestion? So Gaviscon, there's different types of Gaviscon. The one that I recommend more frequently and the one that a lot of reflux experts recommend is also an alginate, just like Reflux Raft. It's called Gaviscon Advanced, and that is the alginate version of Gaviscon. So it's the algae that literally can prevent reflux instead of just being an acid reducer. It doesn't aid digestion. It's not really like a digestive support supplement. It works like this, like with the algae. It just creates that barrier that prevents reflux from going into the esophagus. Isn't he cute? Next question, can you heal LPR or will it just be managed? So this is really different for everyone because it depends on your root cause. It depends on, if you're having LPR from a nerve issue, because you can have reflux that's non-acidic, non-erosive, or you can have, LPR, laryngopharyngeal reflux that's caused by just nerve issues, a hypersensitivity of the esophagus. So it really does depend on the root cause, but either way, the key is to prevent reflux. So all of my suggestions in that playlist still stand. If you are still, dealing with LPR and you've seen a laryngologist and you're following those tips, definitely book a one-on-one session with me so we can dive in a little bit deeper. But you can absolutely heal LPR. In general, there are ways to stop those symptoms, especially when we're able to prevent reflux from happening. That can really help prevent the tissue from continuing to be irritated. Next question, trying to taper PPI and getting a little burning in the throat. Does this mean damage is happening or can I try to control it with supplements and gum? So much health anxiety around causing throat damage. This is super common and I think this is what makes acid reflux more anxiety provoking than IBS because IBS is really anxiety provoking, having to really think about bathroom habits and having to think about food all the time. But there's a level of anxiety that goes along with reflux that has to do with damage. And so I definitely know what that's like. I've been there. So many of my clients have been there. Definitely recommend in this wean process to be using an alginate. It's tough when you're getting rebound symptoms during a wean. So you really want to make sure you're doing that very, very slowly, step by step. If you need to ask your doctor for, say you're on 20 milligram omeprazole, if you need to ask him for a 10 or her for a 10, I would definitely ask them for a 10. So you can go really, really step by step. And working with a professional that knows how to do this is really helpful. I've helped a lot of my clients wean off of PPIs, and we really want to be identifying, okay, where can we help you get some more support, and where are the areas in this reflux journey that you need more support with so that we can prevent this burning. Tips to swallow pills. So yeah, that's a really, really good one. I think, ask your doctor if you can crush it. Ask the pharmacist if you can crush it. If you can't, you may want to use a thicker liquid, like a protein shake or something, where you may not feel it in your throat, and take a gulp of that. But I would ask your doctor or the pharmacist, because they may actually have some more tips other than that one. But let me look into this. This is funny that you asked this, because I should really have more tips in terms of swallowing pills, because a lot of my clients struggle with this. So I'm going to make a note and I will answer this more thoroughly in the next Q&A. Next question, when you say take small sips, can it be like 3 small sips at once or only 1? And also, how long after can we continue to take more sips ideally? So with liquid, you just want to try to do most of your liquid 20 minutes before, 20 minutes after meals. So that 20-minute buffer around meals, you want to just try to let your body digest and not overfill the stomach with excess liquid and not dilute your digestive enzymes with excess liquid. You can take 3 small sips at once. That is totally fine. We just want to avoid having, really big gulps, drinking a whole water bottle at once, a whole cup of water at once. I would say like 4 ounces at once would be fine, but I would probably, sipping throughout the day is best. But yes, 3 small sips is fine. A request for yoga when you have a headache. Oh, awesome. That's a great idea. In the meantime, definitely check out the jaw and neck release. I think it's called jaw. Yeah, it's like a jaw and neck release one. I think that would be really helpful, because sometimes headaches are caused by jaw and neck tension. Next question, can you explain why someone gets pain underneath the rib cage? Yeah, so again, your stomach, and right underneath the rib cage is this area where the lower esophageal sphincter is. And so when we have lots of acidic stomach contents that are kind of splashing up at the lower esophageal sphincter, that's sometimes when this area can get really inflamed, and we feel that as pain underneath the rib cage. Next question. Molly, thank you for everything that you are doing to help and give hope to acid reflux sufferers. I have LPR, and I'm trying to determine if intermittent fasting is recommended for LPR or if it exacerbates it. There's a lot of conflicting advice regarding this based on what I've read. I'm generally not a person who feels hungry in the morning, although I have my first meal at noon. I used to have black green tea on an empty stomach, which I stopped after reading your advice. Now I only have tea after a meal. This has definitely helped my LPR symptoms. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that that's helped. Yeah, so I typically don't recommend intermittent fasting because it leads to having really large meals for a lot of people. If you wait until you're starving, it's very hard to eat to that 80% fullness range. And the reason why we want to eat to 80% fullness is because if we fill the stomach all the way up, so our stomach is really, really full, the likelihood that we're going to get this reflux into the esophagus, if this isn't as tight as it needs to be, the lower esophageal sphincter, it's much higher if the stomach is very full. If we only fill the stomach to like 80% and we're having smaller meals, the likelihood of refluxing is lower. So I don't usually recommend intermittent fasting. I think you're right. There's so much conflicting information just in general about health and nutrition. And the truth is there's just it's not a one size fits all approach. And that's why there's so much information. So I don't recommend intermittent fasting. I actually recommend small frequent meals. I think having like 3 hours in between meals is ideal. And then having like 11 to 12 hours at night when you're not eating, that's a good fast. But other than that, I don't recommend fasting 1 week. Next question, can throat coat tea be consumed on an empty stomach, say first thing in the morning, or do you recommend all herbal teas only consumed after a meal? So throat coat tea has no caffeine and it is generally fine on an empty stomach. Great question. I only recommend like acidic caffeinated teas like black tea, green tea, or coffee with a few bites of food or a meal or after a meal. Next question, I travel a lot for work and I struggle with meals on the road. I don't want to eat takeout all the time, but I'm out of ideas for meal prep with travel. Can you add add a video with solutions for this. Oh, this is such a good idea. Yeah. So a video on travel. Definitely check out the travel video if you haven't already. There's a travel video and a couple meal prep videos and building balanced meals. But I think having some good go-tos could be helpful. It is really hard when you don't want to get takeout and you're traveling for longer periods of time. I would say cooking things and then maybe freezing it if you are wanting to bring your own food, like the spinach feta egg white bites or any sort of egg muffin. Also looking into bringing high protein snacks like maybe some dried edamame or like the Owen vanilla protein shakes. Definitely check out my Amazon store. I will link it down below. And then also like doing wraps or sandwiches if you have a cooler that you can bring with you. If you want something that can last longer than, animal proteins, because that's usually the thing that can't really last too long is animal proteins. You may want to stick to doing like tofu wraps or tofu sandwiches. You could also try to get to a grocery store and pick up some things there to make quick things at home or at your hotel room. I also would recommend, if you can tolerate yogurt, doing yogurt bowls with some nuts and seeds, with granola, overnight oats, chia puddings, those types of things. Lastly, I really like those Purely Elizabeth oatmeal cups. If you can bring those, getting a good protein powder. I'm going to link my current favorite protein powder is Drink Wholesome. It's just so simple and I've been really loving that. So getting a good protein powder, you could add to those little oatmeal cups. And yeah, those are really, really handy for travel. I hope that helps. And I'll try to make that video soon for sure. Next questions. I feel so constipated. I can't seem to eat. Any tips? Yeah. So constipation is really tough because it can contribute to reflux. So if we have this traffic jam of stool, it can decrease our appetite. It can contribute to reflux. Definitely looking at your nutrition, are you getting enough overall nutrition? Are you getting a good balance of nutrition at your meals? Watch the Building Balanced Meal video and then the constipation video. So adequate hydration, really, really pushing hydration, sipping in between meals, aiming for 2 liters a day, warm liquids in between meals. If you can tolerate ginger tea can be really helpful. And magnesium citrate is really helpful in a powdered form in some tea if you can, or doing some magnesium pills. Definitely want to look at your stress, making sure you're managing stress, doing maybe the ILU massage. The ILU massage is in the lifestyle section of FLORA. That's really helpful for bloating, for constipation, and making sure that you're getting enough produce. So fruits are really helpful for constipation. Things like melon, banana, brown pear, kiwi, all of those things, trying to incorporate those is really helpful. Next question. What is your early morning routine? I wake up starving and craving coffee or something warm and need it immediately. Curious what your go-to routine is. Yeah, so my routine, I wake up at 5:20 on the weekdays and I brush my teeth. I immediately make my coffee. I drink Days low acid, low caffeine coffee, and I'll have like one of my pumpkin muffins or half a pumpkin donut or something. I go to the gym on weekdays and then I come back home, have breakfast. I usually do like a yogurt bowl with granola and fruit and some nut butter, and then start my day. So that's I totally forgot all my mindfulness stuff. A big part of my morning is my meditation and journal. So I'll do like a 5-minute meditation from FLORA. I know that's funny that I actually do use this app pretty much every day. I love just the quick meditations. I love the journaling videos from Allie in the journaling playlist. So I absolutely journal every single day. I journal about, what I'm grateful for. I journal about what I want today to look like, what I want to like 1 year to look like. I kind of just open the journal and see where it takes me that day. But in terms of food, yeah, I'll have my coffee, a snack. I never have coffee on an empty stomach. Do my meditation, my journal. That whole process only takes about 20 minutes. I'm really quick. It's not a long journal session. It's about 10 minutes with the meditation and the journaling. So pretty quick out the door. And then I come back and have a real breakfast. So I hope that helps. I love reading your questions and I want to just thank you for being a part of this community. Continue to ask questions, continue to send me your requests. And if you have any recipe requests, let me know and I'll see you at the next video.